morning, everyone, and welcome once again to our SonRise Project call, where we're always here together in a safe space, looking for compassion and love and opportunities to heal and make different choices every day. I'm grateful you all are here this morning, and I know it's going to be a phenomenal session with our special guest today. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm taking a deep breath as I get ready to introduce our incredible guest. You've met her before. She's been with us several times. This is Candace Washington, and she is the founder and CEO of Restorative Minds Therapeutic and Wellness Services. She is a mother of a 7-year-old who is sleeping right now, and we are going to see if he joins us for the session, which would be lovely. She is a minister. She's a board certified licensed social worker, psychotherapist, production therapist, suicide survivor, and a United States Air Force veteran. Candace graduated from Bowie State University with a bachelor's degree in psychology and Howard University, a big smile, with a master's degree in social work. She has over 10 years of experience offering mental health services to corporate, faith-based, and government organizations through education, training, clinical support, and advocacy. Candace has served as a commissioned officer in the United States Air Force, where she taught crisis management and intervention skills to over 42,000 military members and civilian employees. She has worked as a consultant to top military leadership and with various community organizations to deliver mental health, suicide, and sexual assault prevention education. As a mental health consultant, Candace serves on the advisory board of Audaz Inc. This virtual reality program teaches skills to manage anxiety based on cognitive behavioral health principles. She is also a psychotherapist at Totally Whole Counseling Services in Baltimore, Maryland, where she supports and guides clients on their healing journey. Most recently, Candace was named as the National Ambassador for NAMI. Congratulations. NAMI is the National Association on Mental Illness. Candace is widely known by her pen name, Candace Writes. She is the author of Breathe, Rest, Reflect, Reset, a faith-based book that provides practical and scriptural healing strategies for women of God, 60-day devotional. She has garnered notoriety as an in-demand licensed mental health professional and speaker, and she frequently speaks about faith, mental health, and her message of hope and restoration. She has two energetic sons, Bryson and Braxton, and is based in the Washington metropolitan area where she serves clients worldwide. So that's incredible because people on here are always looking for people that they can work with, and your training is phenomenal. So welcome back, Candace. We're so excited to have you here with us this morning, and we're thrilled to have you share our theme, which is mental wellness is not a luxury. So that is our topic this morning, and we are so delighted to have you back with us today. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And as you shared with me just now, this is my fifth time returning to SonRise. So I'm so blessed and so grateful that you all keep having me back. So good morning.
We are thrilled to have you. Every time you're here, you drop so many gems of wisdom, and we get such amazing feedback. So we wanted to have you back today to share. So we'll get started with
Yeah.
the theme and the concept and why you state that mental wellness is an essential foundation of our lives, not a luxury. So why does our wellness regimen need to ground us, and why is it so necessary?
It's so important for every part of our lives, when it comes to really taking care of your mental health, it really informs how you think, how you feel, how you move, how you engage within your relationships. And it's not a luxury. When you think about that word, Kelly, luxury, the definition of
Mm,
luxury is to have great comfort. And prioritizing
mm,
yourself and taking care of yourself is not always comfortable. It's not always easy, and it can come with shame at times. It can
Mhm.
come with guilt. It can come with regret because, especially if you're a caregiver, right? You're a caretaker. And NAMI reports that 8.4 million people take care and provide care for others outside of themselves. And
Mm,
32 hours of that care a week is dedicated to
mm,
someone else
mm.
at minimum.
And is that beyond children? That's taking care of a loved one, being a spouse or a parent or an
That,
elder. Okay, so that's on top of being a mother, if you're a
that's on
mother.
top of it. Yes, 32 hours out of your week is dedicated to
Mm,
taking care of someone else.
wow.
So when, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, you go ahead.
So when you think about, luxury and having comfort, that's not always comfortable, especially if you look at the hierarchy of your life and if you have a spouse, if you have children, your job, all of these other things and people come before yourself. So once you get down to having time for yourself, you're met with burnout at times. You're met with
Hmm.
exhaustion. And because of that, that really can toss all of your good choices and all the things that you may have woke up in the morning planning to do for yourself, it tosses it out of the window.
Hmm.
We're
So
going to get into the
how do
window
we
difference in the next.
yes, yes, that's the point I want to make. And the question I have that I'm sure everybody has on here is how do we make sure we don't toss that out the window and make sure that the focus on self and self-care and wellness is the priority versus it being the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
How do we do that?
you have to be able to first rewire how you think.
Hmm.
You have to be
Hmm.
able to rewire how you think. And I tell my clients and people all the time, and I ask them this question: what are your personal Bill of Rights? What are your personal Bill of Rights?
Hmm.
What is it that you believe you have the right to? I have the right to leisure. I have the right to pleasure. I have the right to travel. I have the right to change my mind. I have the right to prioritize myself. I have the right to
Hmm.
say no without explanation, without shame, without guilt. I have the right to choose myself. I have the right to come home to myself. Being able to first believe what you have the right to, it changes the game. It really does change
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
Because if you don't believe that you have the right to these things, it's not going to show up behaviorally. So it's being
Right.
able to change how you think around caring for yourself to remember that you need you too. So, as I said, I'm a
Hmm.
mom and I had to change how I think and thought about mothering.
Right.
I had
Which is what? Yeah, go ahead to say
It's
more on
saying that
that.
I need myself too. If I am depleted, they're getting the
Mhm.
burnout of that. They're getting my ashes and they're deserving of more than that. But I have to
Mm,
first say, I have to pour into this cup that God has blessed me with. The cup is your vessel, your mind, your body. And then when I pour
mhm,
into myself, my children get the overflow. They're the saucers. They're connected to me.
mhm, mhm.
As they're connected to me, they get the richness and the goodness of who I am because I'm pouring good things into my cup. So
Right.
the beneficiary of it.
And you're starting there. So you're starting with saying I have the right to rest. I have the right for self-care. I have the right for peace or for a moment of silence or whatever that looks like for you, or the right to take a walk first. With so creating that personal bill of rights, do you write it down or do you say in a journal, this is what I'm
I
going to
do
do, or do
all
you?
the things. I write it down in a journal, repeat, in the mirror after myself, letting myself know and talking to yourself. That's not a bad
Mm,
thing. Sometimes I have to sit and talk to myself, just like I sit and
yes.
talk to friends, just like I sit and talk to clients, asking yourself each day, what is it that you need? and then be able to pull
mm,
that out of your toolbox. So each day, asking yourself
mm,
that question: what is it that I need today? Does my body need something? Does my mind need something? Does my nervous system need something as it pertains to, do I need to change my scenery? Do I need to taste something? Do I need to hear
mm,
something? Do I need to pick up a phone and talk to someone? Do I need to sit in silence, stillness, and
mhm,
am I exhausted? Am I overly stimulated socially, relationally, occupationally? You talked about rest.
mm,
Rest is productive. I said this in the last call, and I'm going to say it again.
you
Take
did.
off the cape. Take off
Mhm,
the cape. So being able to know I have the right to take off the cape, that you have the right to lay it down, that you have the
mm,
to rest, those are the things that really strengthen your toolkit so you can utilize it. And you look at your toolkit, it's there not to be
mm,
active, but to be proactive. Most of us have tools in our home. It's there for when something happens. We don't always have to run to the store and grab. It's already there.
mm.
So
We
you
just
can
don't go
already have a
access
wellness
it.
toolkit to access.
Yes. Starting with the cape, I remember when you made that comment in our last session about taking the cape. I think you said you should either burn the cape or you said use it as a blanket.
Use it as a blanket.
Yes, and rest. And that speaks so much to me.
Mhm.
And I think everybody on this call is ripping and running and doing what they need to do for the kids, for the job, and for a partner, if there's a partner, or what have you. And we are always at the bottom and we're exhausted all the
Mhm.
time.
All the
So
time.
I love the
But we
notion of taking off the
prioritize.
cap.
Yeah, we prioritize those 32 hours, right? At minimum.
Mm, at minimum.
We
Because who
prioritize
gets
that.
really 8 hours of sleep? I don't know anybody that does that. Do you
Yes.
do that? Do you get 8 hours?
I'm a napper. I like to take naps. I'm big on rest. So one of the things that I've had to
Mm,
learn how to do is give myself boundaries. Give myself
mm,
boundaries because I nap during the day because my day is so full. I had to implement boundaries around myself because if I don't, I would stay up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning working,
mhm,
doing
mhm,
something. So because of that, it also comes with what should be in your toolkit is self-awareness. The
yes.
more you spend time with yourself, the more you learn yourself, what drives you, your motivations, your passions, you realize the areas of your life where you may overextend yourself. And because
Mhm,
of that, you have to have boundaries in your toolkit that that
mm,
self-awareness. So because of that, I have to give myself a boundary at night. Whatever doesn't get done today, I'll have to pick it up in the morning.
right. And be
But
okay with that.
be okay. Acceptance,
Yes. That
practice
first word.
acceptance,
Mhm, mhm,
knowing what your bandwidth is. That has to be in your toolkit as well, because naturally we overexert ourselves and overextend ourselves. And I always say exhaustion isn't a badge of honor. I no longer wear exhaustion as a badge of honor. I have rest. I have strength. I had to redefine what strength looks like. Some of us have to redefine what strength looks like. It's not overexerting yourself. It's not running on fumes. Strength looks like I'm prioritizing myself and making sure that the areas that are connected to me are still being met without me losing myself in it. That's
I
one
love
of the things
that.
I had to realize, even in mothering, even in being a therapist, even in traveling. I can't lose myself in this. You can't afford to
Right.
lose yourself in all of the wonderful attributes, all of the great things that you are sent into the earth to do. You can't lose yourself.
I love that. There's this great Susan Taylor in her book In the Spirit many years ago talks
Hmm.
about what you're saying in the perspective of she says you have to give yourself to yourself before you give yourself away. And it's exactly what I hear you saying
Yes.
in a different way. And I love how you're articulating that,
Yeah.
not losing yourself in the midst of all of the surroundings and all of the people pulling at you and all the
Yeah.
things we say we need to do. So I'm so intrigued by you taking naps. I
Yes,
am
I have to. My
intrigued.
children are
I just
nappers too. I
So
think it's
how does that
important.
work? I don't think I've really napped in I don't know how long. I can't remember. How do you do that?
I have blocks in my day. So I'm gonna walk you all through like my day.
Yes,
And I want you to
please.
think about your own day as you're listening to my day. So I'm gonna take it to like during the school year because I have a 17-year-old and a 7-year-old. One of the things that I have learned to prioritize is presence, is being
Mm,
present for my children and for myself. So what that looks like is I wanted to be home at the top of the day, right? Sending them off to school. I wanted
mm-hmm,
to be home when they got off the school bus. I had to restructure my life and prioritize that, right? So after
mm-hmm,
getting them up and out, of the door, I don't see my first client until 10 a.m. So I work from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They get home. A lot of times I'll nap in between that, do things with them in between that, run errands in between that. And then because I see clients in the evening, I work from 6 to 9. So because my days are blocked like that, I had to prioritize myself in my schedule and placing myself on my calendar. Sometimes we have to place
mm,
ourselves on our calendar to say, this is my time, this is non-negotiable. This is family
yes,
time, this is work time, blocking it out so that I don't burn out.
yes. I love that.
So I had to learn how to block. I had to learn how to block out space in my day every day for myself. And it's going to look different for all of us every single day. Some days I just want to rest and nap. Some days I need to get out and move and get vitamin D. Some days I may need to pick up the phone. But you have to be able to know thyself first. You have to be able
Mm,
to spend time with yourself. Dr. Thema Bryant, she has a book about homecoming and coming
mm-hmm,
home to yourself. Again, we're vessels. Think about vessels, house.
mm-hmm,
Everyone in our lives has a room, right?
mm,
But ask yourself, where is my room? Do I have a room? How is it decorated? What's in there? Is it the things that I like, or is it the things that my
mm,
children like? Is it the things that my spouse like, my friends like? What's in my room that's just for me? What is my sanctuary? Where do I
mm,
go to refill and replenish for myself? And once you
mm,
create that room within you, nurture it, spend time there,
mm,
bask there,
mm,
live there, prioritize that space. Everyone doesn't get access to
mm.
that room.
But you said something interesting. You said, I thought where you were going was this room in your house that needs to be your sanctuary or should be your sanctuary. But then just now you said it's a room in yourself.
Mhm.
Is it a physical space? Because I was thinking where my space could possibly be, but or is it an internal space? Or is
Both.
it both? Mm-hmm.
It's both. Um, but it starts internally.
Mm-hmm.
Our thoughts influence our feelings and emotions, which then show up behaviorally.
Yes.
So if you go within yourself psychologically and internally and nurture this
Mm-hmm.
space for yourself, because it may not always show up physically, right? It may
Mm-hmm.
show up in your behavior. I need to go out and do this. I'll give you an example. Travel may be in your room, right?
Mm-hmm.
So behaviorally, I have to be intentional in carving out my life so that I can travel more frequently. But
Got
it
it.
may be solitude, a place for you to journal, for you to sit uninterrupted. That's something you can create within your physical atmosphere, your home.
That's right. I love that. Okay.
Starts
That's very, very, very
internally.
helpful.
Yeah,
All
it's
starts
yeah,
internally. I love that.
yeah,
Okay. Really, really helpful. I want to ask another question about, and you often speak on having a healthy window of tolerance. What
yeah.
is that concept, this having a healthy window of tolerance? What does that mean exactly? And how can we do more of that?
So have you ever heard somebody say, or you say, child, you getting on my last nerves? Like
Yes,
getting on
yes.
my last nerves. We all have a window of tolerance. We all have a window of tolerance. And
Hmm.
when you think about your window, it's two parts that should be in your window of tolerance to help you manage stress, patience, your bandwidth, which is your emotion and your logic.
Mm,
To have a healthy window of tolerance, you have to be able to access both emotion and logic because our emotions and our feelings is information. When you're angry, it's something happening or happened that made you angry. That's information. When you're sad, when you're anxious, when you're exhausted, that's information. But you also have to have logic. So when you think
Right.
about it, it's three pillars. To have a healthy window of tolerance, again, you're tapping into both your emotions and logic. But when you remove emotion out of your bandwidth, your window shuts down and now you're in a hypo aroused space. When you're in a hypo around space, you're lethargic, you're numb, you're not caring about what it is that you're feeling. You're just trying to think logically. You're trying to rationalize things. So you shun out your emotions. When you keep your emotions there, but then you remove logic, you go up and become hyper aroused where you only see red. You become so emotionally stressed that all you're doing is making decisions based upon what you feel.
And you need both. It's the
You
feelings and the
need
facts.
both.
Mm-hmm.
You need
Mm-hmm. That
both.
makes
And all
sense.
of us have been in all three, depending upon the situation. Sometimes, when it comes to our children, it can easily put
Hmm.
us in a hyper aroused space
Absolutely. Daily.
because it's intimately connected. It's relationship. It's just like, oh,
Hmm.
my baby is struggling. This, I need to do this for my child. I need to do that. It's emotion. Instead of being able to say, what can I control in this? That's logic.
Hmm.
What do I have
Hmm.
the ability to help him or her with?
And is that how you manage your 17-year-old? Because many people I can see on here have teenagers and young adults. So as you go back and forth with this whole window of tolerance, can you paint an example of how you may have
Yes.
used that with your 17-year-old specifically?
Yes, and I'm glad you talked about Bryson specifically because Bryson is my amazing, amazing, amazing. He'll be if you see him now, he'll let you know he's turning 18 next year. So Bryson, my 17-year-old, has intellectual. He was diagnosed with intellectual disability, and being a young mother with Bryson, my window of tolerance was out the window. I was
Mm-hmm.
emotionally distressed a lot of times, with him based upon a lack of patience, understanding
Mm-hmm.
times, trying to rationalize everything. So a lot of times I was emotionally distressed, but then often because my defense mechanism is to intellectualize things, right? Well, what
Mm-hmm.
can I do? What can I control? And I was ignoring what it is that I was feeling. So my window of tolerance was very low, but I had to strengthen that over time to realize I'm so worried about what he can't do instead of focusing and strengthening what it is that he can do, what he's amazing
Mm-hmm.
in doing and nurturing and focusing on that because again, I'm trying to rationalize it.
Right. Right.
So I wasn't operating out of both. It was either or it wasn't both and. But as I grew and strengthened my own toolkit and my own box, right, when it came to my self-awareness and my patience and strengthening that for myself first, it then trickled over into my mothering that
That's
now my
fantastic.
patience, the bandwidth has strengthened that now I'm able to say this is
Mm-hmm.
how I feel, but what it is that I'm able to do, what can I control? What can I control? So when Bryce has an episode where he becomes, overstimulated, I'm able to tap into, okay, Candace, this is how you're feeling in the moment. But what is it that he needs in this moment? So not allowing my
Mm-hmm.
emotions and my feelings to overshadow what is needed in the
Yes.
moment.
That's that's fabulous.
But we've come
And
a long way, him and
I was
I.
about to
Being
say,
a
can you teach
19-year-old
everybody?
mom and now, him almost being 18, but I had to learn that and give myself grace and forgive myself
Mm-hmm.
for the times that, again, what did I say at the top? When you think about window of tolerance, it's like, this is getting on my last nerves. I had to strengthen her.
Mm-hmm.
I had to talk to my nervous system and say, this is something that we
Mm-hmm.
have to accept. How do you respond?
Right. And how do you change yourself, really, is what you're saying, because
Yes, and not
that's the,
him.
and not him. That's right. How do we change ourselves? Because they're often not the problem.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And that is
I had to
that
get to
was
the root of that, and, I'm
yes,
very transparent, very transparent, very honest. I had to get to the root of why my window of tolerance kept shrinking, and I had to realize it was embarrassment. It was
that's right.
shame.
That's right. With the outside world especially.
Yes,
Mhm,
because I
mhm,
remember I was at
mhm,
Town Center one time. Bryson, I think he had to be, I don't know, I think he was maybe 9 and he struggled
mhm,
with tying his shoes. And I remember I was helping him tie his shoes. And Bryson's a tall guy. He's like over, 6 foot now, 6 feet now. So at 9, he didn't look like he was, 9. He looked way older. And I remember this guy walked by me and he said, he's too old for you to be tying his shoe. And he was just like, just saying a lot of things. And I remember in that moment, I started crying. And I was
mm.
helping Bryson because he was struggling, but I was more worried about outside opinions than what the child
Yes.
needed at the time. So what did I
Mhm.
do? That emotion, that embarrassment that I was feeling, it was displaced onto Bryson.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
on what this individual that doesn't even know him and I, said it was on
Mhm.
Bryson. So I shut down the rest of the day because of what someone else said.
Right.
So
Oh, I
that's something
mm,
else that you have to work on in your toolkit is letting go of people and their opinion.
that's right. That part is really hard when we're in a society and we've been trained our whole lives to
Mhm.
have a certain, to have a certain facade and to raise kids a certain way.
Yeah,
So taking that mask off is really important. And that's what you're saying. I think you're saying focus on what the
that-
child needs, not what outside society says.
yes.
Hmm.
And that's a game
Hmm.
changer. When I finally, Dr. Maya Angelou wrote a poem called We Wear the Mask. And I had to
Hmm.
realize that I was wearing this mask of, perfection, and once you take off that mask and just wipe off the sweat, wipe off the residue, and like really
Hmm.
see who's in the mirror, it changes everything because now you can breathe.
Exactly. That's so good. I saw someone's hand go up a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, that was me, Kelly. Thank you.
Oh,
Hi,
good morning.
Candace. Good
Hey.
Hey.
morning.
Mm.
Um, I love your boys. And can you talk about how you discovered Bryson's gift? Like he is so talented.
Hmm.
Kelly, he can hear a song one time and then know the lyrics. He can memorize
Wow.
lyrics like after one pass of a song. He can dance. He's
Wow.
an amazing dancer. He will light up and get any dance floor started. Um, just a magnanimous personality. But Candace, can you
Mhm.
talk about the discovery of the things he could do
Mhm.
and how that empowered you and became a tool in your toolkit? Because as a parent, we can get lost in what's not working, what's not happening, what's
Yes.
not doing. So can you share a little
Mhm.
bit about how you discovered his gifts and what that did for you? And what happened that you started looking at that? Because I think that would help a lot. It'll help me.
Mhm.
Let me speak for myself, be lighter
Mhm.
when it comes
Mhm.
to, am I being emotional? Am I being logical? Am I being both? Am I being nothing? Because I just don't have it, right? But
Yeah.
to have spent time around him and the joy he just brings just thinking about him dancing and singing and smiling just
Mhm.
makes the moment lighter.
Mhm.
So can you share that, please?
Whew, that is such a loaded question. And I'll be honest, when you asked that question, so much emotion just ran through my body just thinking about it. Because if I'm honest, I don't think I was as present in his
Mhm.
until 5 years ago, and Bryson's 17. Um, I always knew, like I have videos of him when he was a baby, 6, 9 months.
Mhm.
and we're in the car listening to go-go, and he's just bopping his head on beat, right? And as he grew older, he just fell in love with music and dance. And as you said, he can hear a song one time and learn the beat, learn the melody, learn the rhythm, learn the lyrics. He's always been a dancer. And those are things I believe I've always praised. However, because of my own feelings and thoughts when it came to what it is that he couldn't do, and me being so focused on comparing him to the next child, I don't think I fully was present in his giftings until I did my own healing. Until I took that mask off, until I started to look at life differently and looked at how blessed am I that God chose me to be his mother. I didn't look at it that way, at first because of what it is that I was dealing with. And once I started dealing with me, started loving him even better. I started nurturing him even more. My window of tolerance when it comes to raising Bryson, because raising Bryson, it looks different from raising Braxton. I love them both equally. Parenting them is different based upon their needs. And now I'm more intentional with him as it pertains to empowering his strengths, because he's 17, he still struggles with reading. Instead of comparing my 17-year-old to my 7-year-old, okay, that's a huge gap.
It's a huge gap. Yeah.
Huge gap. Instead of comparing my 17-year-old to my 7-year-old and going in, because I may not say it, but you could be thinking things. Well, Bryson's 17, Braxton is 7. Braxton can do this, Bryson can't do this, but Bryson can do this. I don't do that ping-ponging, because that's exhausting. I look at the fact that even though he's struggling with something, he has learned how to figure out whatever it is to get what he needs. That is strength. He can program a TV. We'll lose a remote. He says, Mom, that's fine. He'll download an app. Next thing we know, the TV is working.
Amazing.
Even though he struggles with reading, he has a phone. He knows how to communicate via text. He knows how to do things. He knows how to do the voice to text to get what he needs and allow himself to communicate. That's a strength. Be able to be creative, to be able to just figure it out, even when society may say you lack. That's a gift. And I had to learn that that is a gift and that's not a weakness. And once I started looking at his strengths and stopped focusing on his weaknesses and what he can't do, because truth be told, I have weaknesses. I can't do everything. All of us. And once I started looking at it through that lens, I became a better protector of his. And that, for me, changed everything, because then I started to say, what is it that you can control? What is it that you can't control? What is it that you need to nurture? Because the thing in him that he does amazing in, that I nurture, now I'm seeing praises in the community as it pertains to his character, as it pertains to his compassion and his as it pertains to his work ethic. He's in a summer program, working on different job sites and getting an email from his supervisor. Bryson is doing amazing. It's because, again, I had the logic early on to give him the early intervention, skills that he needed at 2. So he's been in special education since he was 2. I had the logic to say, hey, my child needs help, but I didn't have the emotion at that time to be able to wrestle with what it is that I needed so that I can mother him better. So honestly, it was after, that last bout with suicidal ideation with me in 2019, that I realized that I was carrying a lot of things, and the things that I was carrying, I was projecting onto Bryson. And that wasn't his to carry. And once I freed myself of that, I freed him to be him. And not try to put him in this box of what I think my child should be.
Right.
I gave him the freedom to be Bryson and be expressive and not trying to quiet him down. Because when I did that, what I really was saying was, son, shrink yourself.
That's right. Change yourself.
Change yourself
Mm-hmm.
to fit into society instead of
Mm-hmm.
society. No, 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 no. You're going to adapt to this amazing child that God has given to me. And
That's
once I did,
exactly right.
it changed everything. It changed everything, and saying like, no, 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 we need a Bryson in this world. We need that light in this
Absolutely.
world. And because God entrusted me with him, I'm not going to taint how God created him. And that helped me with my mental health. It helps me.
Mm-hmm.
He has episodes when he's overly stimulated. I'm able to
Mm-hmm.
ground myself first so that I can ground him. When you're flying, they say put on your mask first, right?
That's right.
If I am escalated, I cannot de-escalate an escalated child if I'm escalated with him.
That's right. That's
So
right.
all of those things, I'm just shooting everything out because honestly, Dr. Vicky, when you asked me that question, I could just feel the emotion rise up because I know that there was so many years where I was projecting a lot onto Bryson. I was
Yeah.
projecting, and I'm glad that I'm free from that because now he's
Yes.
that.
Thank
And
you
you
for that
still have to.
answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for that because it is highlighting for me where I have done that with my
Mm-hmm.
daughter because I dealt with postpartum depression the first 5, 6 years of her life. Honestly, I do not even remember that
Yeah.
time. Other people had
Mm-hmm.
her. And so I'll say I really became present as a mom for her when she was about 7. So what I'm hearing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
is your prayer, God help me how to help me parent this gift you gave me
Mhm.
and not even subconsciously
Mm-hmm.
try to make her a duplicate of me or be
Yes.
what I think she should be. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
heard.
Yes.
And that is why I just intuitively asked the question, didn't know why. But
Mm.
that's huge. That
Yeah.
is so huge, the shame we carry
Yes.
because our children don't show up or appear, air quotes,
Mhm.
like other people's children. So
Yeah.
thank you for your transparency and
Mm-hmm.
your candidness this morning because that really, like my heart just popped open.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking because that is something that I struggled with for a long time. And even, when it came to postpartum, I didn't experience it with Bryson, but I experienced it with Braxton. I have journals where I wrote, I don't think I'm going to be connected to this child. While
Mm-hmm.
he was still in the womb, I was speaking that over. I don't think I'm going to be connected to him. And then the first year and a half, I didn't feel that. I was so emotionally disconnected. So being in that space again, we have to go internal first. We have to come home to ourselves first because if our cup is broken and you're trying to pour into it, think about a broken cup. It's not
Mm-hmm.
holding anything. So they're not getting anything. So it first starts with us. And once I started doing that work, I started reconnecting with my sons. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
going through depression and suicidal ideation. The same son that I was projecting on, which was Bryson, was the same little boy that stood up in my place when I couldn't get out the bed. He was going to figure out what to get his brother in the kitchen. He and Braxton was one. And this is the that
Wow.
the doctor said couldn't do X, Y, and Z. But he knew enough to say, my mom can't do it. I have to do it.
It's amazing.
So those are the strengths, his heart, his compassion, how he just, and he's still that amazing, big brother. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the
Mm-hmm.
things that again I have to focus on when he shows otherwise, is being able to say, mm-mm.
I love that.
Yeah.
What it's, and you have shared so many gifts with us. I want to just touch on, if you're willing to share,
Hmm.
I know you shared in one of our sessions, I think you're 5 years sober, and I wanted to see, and so that's so amazing. Congratulations. Um, And your parenting journey, how much did that weigh into, what was happening with the shame and the guilt, those times prior to your sobriety as it pertains to raising Bryson and Braxton?
So, it's interesting that you asked that question. So I'm gonna share this to answer the question that you just posed. So, right now for the last year, myself and some other producers, we've been in development of a biopic based on my life. And as I'm working with the writer, we were talking about, my struggles with alcohol. And, her questioning and us digging, it brought up, so many memories and so many thoughts.
Mhm,
And one of the things that came out, I was like, wow, I forgot that because I was so embarrassed, so full of shame that I suppressed.
mhm,
But as she was asking me questions about my parenting and struggling with alcohol, I remember quite often Bryson, he would say to me, I would go in the kitchen and fix myself a drink. And he would ask me, can you please not drink that because it makes you sick? Please
wow.
not drink that because it makes you sick. He didn't know what was in it. All he knew was whenever mommy drinks that, she turns into a different person. It makes her sick. It makes
Mm,
her lethargic. It makes her numb. And every time he would say something about me drinking, I would still choose to drink instead
mm,
honoring what it is that he was feeling. And what I realized is that I was in so much pain that I would have rather been physically sick than to deal with what was going on in my mind.
right, right.
And I tell people all the time that may not be your vice when it comes to alcohol, but we all have vices to say, I'd rather eat, I'd rather
Mhm,
shop, I'd rather spend, I'd rather sleep, I'd rather
mhm.
blank than to deal
Work around the clock.
with work. I'd
Mhm,
rather work than to deal with what it is
mhm,
that I'm
mhm,
experiencing internally. I would have rather made myself physically sick
mm,
than to deal with what it is that I was experiencing. And after, that third, I had two attempts. I shared this before, but if anyone that doesn't know, I had two suicide attempts, one at 16, one at 26, and then at 31. Um, After my divorce, I was struggling with those suicidal thoughts again. And what I realized in that moment was I didn't want the pain. Um, I wanted the pain to stop. I didn't want to take my life. I wanted the pain to stop. And by me doing,
mm,
moving forward with that decision, by me doing that, my pain would have stopped, but the children's pain would have just, begun. So when I made
mhm,
that decision to say, I want to deal with this pain, I also prayed to God, remove the taste of alcohol from me
mm.
because healing is messy. Is not it's a
Yes.
luxury. I had like even when Dr. Vicky asking me that question, like my response, like I don't have shame about it. Like, no, I
Mhm.
struggled. And
Yeah.
talking about alcohol and talking about taking my life, I don't have shame in that anymore because I dealt with the mess of it. I dealt with the residue. I faced the shame. I faced the guilt. I faced the embarrassment. I faced
Mhm,
people's opinions and what they thought about
mhm,
me. Well, you're a mother, you're a therapist, you're a minister, you're all these things. And I'm
mhm,
like, pause. Before I'm all these things, I'm Candace first. Before I'm a mother, I'm Candace first. So me making that decision to stop drinking was me making a decision to face it, sober minded, face it.
mhm,
And that was the hardest thing that I had to do was face myself because by facing myself, I had to face that
mm,
20-year-old. I had to face that 16-year-old. I had to go back and grab the hand of that 5-year-old that I was blaming for something that she didn't ask for. I had to face it. And what I realized is that I wore the mask so well that it
mhm.
absorbed into my DNA because I wore it so
Yes.
well.
Mhm.
Changed that. And once
Right.
I stopped drinking, day by day, moment by moment, I started taking the mask off. Did the mask come completely off when I made the decision to stop drinking? No, I had to do the work. I had to do the work.
Mhm.
And healing is messy. Taking care of
Yes,
yourself, it's not always comfortable. It's not a luxury. You're going to have to cry through it, feel through it, put up boundaries, say no, communicate, advocate for yourself. You know,
right.
it can be exhausting. It can be
Mm,
exhausting, but it's also so rewarding. I would do it all
right.
again to get to the place that I'm at now, to be in community with you all, to
Mhm.
to share, to be able to be of support and to help to,
Yes,
hey, if I got on the other side, you can get on the other side. We all have a,
yes. I was just going to say that we all have this journey. You went
yeah.
out when you said the word journey for a hot
Mhm.
second, your audio. Can you say that again? We all have a journey.
Yeah, we
And
all
what
have
was
a
this?
journey. We all have a journey, but you have to make the decision to walk the path, meaning you have to be a willing
Mhm.
participant. The journey is
Yes,
there, but if you don't move, you're not going to get the reward, the benefit of what doing this work,
yes.
how it would show up for you. But you have to put one foot in front of the other. You have to be a willing participant. And by me putting down the alcohol, that was me saying, I'm going to participate in this healing because I deserve it, because my sons deserve it, and because my community deserves it. But I first
Mm,
have to do the work. And by me doing the work, it created this generational um, domino effect within my son,
yes.
within my family. Like even my youngest son, Braxton, he tells people all the time, I'm the cup, because and
Oh,
he utilizes language that I'm like, wow, okay, you're listening, you're watching, and I want them to know that they don't have to turn to all of
mhm.
these vices.
Mm,
Just
that's
do the
awesome.
work and
And
put
you're the example for them. You're the
yeah.
example. I love how you heard your son
Hmm.
say, please don't do that. And
Yeah.
that really must have stuck and resonated with you for you to
Yes.
make the change. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's so good. I want to make
Daily
sure that,
choice.
what'd you say?
That it's a daily choice. Like even being six
Mm,
years, almost 6 years, sober, January 2026 will be 6 years. It's
amazing.
I tell people all the time it's a daily choice. I'm one decision away from going back. So, in knowing that is being so intentional. And that's why I don't play when it comes to myself. I don't play when it comes to my self-care, when it comes to my mental health, when it comes to what it is that I need. I listen to my body, listen to my emotions. I fact check, say, hey, is this valid? Where's the validity? Where's the evidence to this? It's
Mm-hmm.
a whole thing going on in my mind. It's a whole conversation happening
Mm-hmm.
because I have to be that intentional. We have to be that intentional with ourselves to say, no, I'm deserving of this work. I'm deserving of this
That's
care.
right.
I don't have a second
That's
thought
right.
when it comes to my children and what they need. I'm not going to question what it is that I need. If you need to rest, rest. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to be around community, be around community, but do what you need to get to the next day.
That's right. I love that so much because every day really is a choice. How we show up, how we act, how we respond. I love how you talked earlier about how you communicate with your sons, which is very different than before. And that's my daily struggle. Or maybe not struggle, it's a choice every day, how we respond and how to show up. I love all that. I love everything you're saying. And we have a few more minutes if anybody wants to ask a question or come off of mute and share what you might be dealing with this morning with Candace. Feel free. Let's see if anybody has their hand up. I'm reading some of the comments as well. The resting room within is beautiful. Blocking to avert burning out.
Yes.
Emotions are information.
Hmm.
I love that. If you could give us one or two pieces of advice of things we could do today to start this
Mhm.
wellness journey, what would it be? Or what would they be?
One, I would say grab a journal or, your notes app in your phone and write out your personal bill of rights. I shared a few of my
Mm,
write out your personal bill of rights, and I would challenge you to write out 10. I have the right
mm,
blank. I have the right to do X, Y, and Z. Knowing that you have the right to prioritize yourself, knowing you have the right to place boundaries, knowing you have the right to say no, knowing that you have the right to change your environment if it's no longer conducive for you, if it's no longer healthy. You have the right not to be in abusive environments, being able to know that you have the right to have fun. Like that's something that I prioritize now is fun. What is it that is fun for me? Because it looks different, you know? What you
Yes.
may consider to be restful and leisure in your 20s will look different in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to spend time with yourself and say, in the
Mm-hmm.
moment today, your
Mm-hmm.
life finds me today. What is it that I need and what is it that I have the right to? If you're dealing with
Yes.
stress, anxiety, sadness,
Mm-hmm.
relational conflicts, being able to
Mm-hmm.
say, I have the right to, and then challenge yourself. Look at that and go back and say,
Mm-hmm.
am I neglecting anything on this list?
Mm-hmm.
Am I neglecting anything on this list? And then while we're there, then on the flip side of that page, draw a line down the middle and then write self sacrifice and self abandonment. Two different things. As caregivers, as parents, as entrepreneurs, you have a lot on your plate. So sacrifice is a part of it, right? We all sacrifice our time, our energy, and our resources. But there's a difference between self-sacrifice and self-abandonment. Self-abandonment is when you neglect your health in any capacity. If you neglect your home, that is going to heighten your emotionalism, is going to heighten stress, anxiety, depression. When you sacrifice, you may be tired, but there's still something in your cup.
Right.
Still something in your cup. So being able to check in with yourself and say, what am I sacrificing? But what is it over here that I'm doing that's causing me to neglect myself? And
Right.
who I have control over in this list where I'm finding myself abandoning myself? What is it I have
Mm-hmm.
control over here to be able to shift, to be able to delegate, to be able to redirect? Being able to say, what is it that's fueling me and what is it that's depleting me?
Right. I
And is this
love that.
something that I picked up? Or is it was something that I was asked to do that I probably should have said no to? And if you should have said no, what's at the root of why you said yes?
Mm.
If you should
Mm.
have said no, what's at the root of why you said yes? So those are some
Mm.
tangible tools that you can actually just work through today. But first, start with the thoughts, your personal Bill of Rights, I have the right to, and then go over to the behavior, the
Right.
self-sacrifice, the self-abandonment. And one of the things I realize is I no longer have to abandon myself to be who I'm supposed to be.
Right. I love that. Say that again.
I no longer have to abandon myself to be who I'm supposed to be. Because think about
That's right.
abandoning your home. So that means you're going to everybody else's house, making sure they have food in their refrigerator, making sure their house is
Mm-hmm.
clean, making sure their kids are well taken care of. And then you come back to your home and it's a mess. That is abandonment. A
Mm.
self-sacrifice is you leave your home, you're going to everybody else's home and making sure their needs are met. But when you come back, you may have to do a load of laundry. You're like, I'm too tired, I'll do that tomorrow. But your house is not in a disarray, right?
Right.
I'm an analogy queen. So I'm giving you all an analogy to put that
Yes.
self-sacrifice and that self-abandonment into play.
That's right. To show what it looks like. I appreciate that because I was thinking, okay, the abandonment versus sacrifice, two different things
Mhm.
completely.
Two
So
different
those
things.
those examples were really great, really helpful.
Yes.
Wow.
Being able
Well,
to ask yourself that because you have to live in this home. So if you're abandoning it and then you're coming in
mm-hmm.
and there's clutter everywhere, it's gonna start in affecting you, impacting you
Right.
because you have to live in this chaos. You have to live in this confusion. You have to live in this clutter, right? But to be
Yes.
honest, no, you don't. You have choice. So that is
Right.
what abandonment looks like. Don't abandon your home. Don't abandon your mind. Don't abandon your heart. Don't abandon your body.
Mhm.
Yes, we're gonna have to sacrifice, but you don't have to lose yourself in this.
That part right there. That's beautiful. And there are things we can do every day. I love the tools that you gave us just for today. Really simple tools in a journal or the online notes on your phone. There are ways we can get started today and then look at where we are doing those things in terms of the Bill of Rights or where we have made sacrifices or abandoned them completely, and then start working on them,
Yeah, and I know we only
right?
have 2 more minutes, but I would love for Jade to explain a little bit more her question. What if your bandwidth makes abandonment because you're spent?
Dang,
Hey.
I was under the cloak of chat. I was safe there. Hey, so everything was. First, I got to thank you so much, Kelli Joy, your team, Tracy Berry McGee. Had y'all not introduced this to me, I don't know how I would have made it through these past few months. Thank you so, so much.
Oh,
It has
mm,
become, if I didn't have nothing else, I can turn on here.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you were talking about the clutter and the mess. And I pass the clutter and I'll pass the mess and I'll say, okay, I'll look through it, look past it, but it'll still be there, but not having the bandwidth to take it on. And am I abandoning me by also saying, I just don't got it? Is this maybe my default like vice in not clearing that out? Some reason I've got a conflict with needing to, my brain is telling, my mind is telling me yes, but my body's saying no.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for explaining that further and for your vulnerability. And as I was listening to you, you actually answered your own question when it comes to actually seeing it but not doing it. And sometimes we have defense mechanisms to protect ourselves from the mess. And one of them can be avoidance. Right? Avoidance, meaning you see it, but I'm going to avoid it because by touching it, that means it's real. That means I have to deal with whatever it is and whatever is buried in the mess, whatever is buried in that clutter that I have to sort through. So when you think about that, is really being able to address the avoidance first. What's at the root of why you're walking past it instead of it being there, because it being there and trying to tackle it, that's exhausting within itself. So first addressing the avoidance and then fueling yourself when it comes to the exhaustion. So giving yourself strength for that journey to be able to be present in it, but also to address it. So that means that you have to heighten your self-care to even give you the energy and the bandwidth. And that goes back to strengthening your window of tolerance, because I heard the logic here, but the emotion is just like, I'm trying to peek in here, but not yet. So the logic is there. Now you have to add the emotion back to it because that's information and that's what you're avoiding.
Yeah, because we discount that emotion because that emotion has been um cast aside all along. Like, well, your feelings or you're not seeing it, and I think you really helped me solve that because I would associate clearing the clutter as discarding myself. It was maybe it's the last banyan of hope or self that I may be holding on to, but that's huge. Allow the emotion to inform because it's there.
It's
And
there.
no, I'm not getting thrown away because I take out a box,
Yeah.
but it takes being able to allow that to be present. You have been amazing. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, suppression. Suppression is something that is also a protective factor for so many different reasons that we suppress things. But once you give
Mm,
yourself permission to trust yourself and allow self to speak, you'll be amazed
mm,
at what comes.
mhm,
Right. You have
mhm,
to give your emotions permission to speak too, just as much as we
mm,
logic permission, is our emotion has a voice too.
Mm, I love that. And thank you for pulling that question and answering it so beautifully. For
Yeah.
Jade. And Jade, thank you for being here, coming on camera. It's beautiful to see you.
Yeah.
Um, I am so grateful for you, Candace. And
I'm
every time
grateful
you're
for you.
here, gosh, well, it's mutual joy and love this morning. And so happy and honored to have you with us, and would love to have you back again every single time you're here. You share so much wonderful wisdom. I want to make sure for people who might be looking for a therapist or someone to speak to, an advisor, can you share how people can reach you and
Yeah.
connect with you?
So I am going to put my email in the chat right now. Um, Presently, I have a referral list because I'm personally full, but I
Hmm.
work with some amazing, amazing, amazing clinicians. And a lot of the clinicians have support groups as it pertains to
Right.
group therapy, individual therapy. So, however, I can be of support for you, just reach out. So, I put my email address in the chat.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Thank you. And anybody might be driving. I know people are sometimes on their way to church. It's C Washington at restorativemindwellness.com. Restorativemindwellness.com. Awesome. Thank you for being here. So grateful for you and
Grateful for
appreciate
you.
you. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Vicky, who'll close us out this morning.
Yes, Candace, thank you again. Thank you, Kelly and Dee, for this space. God, we thank you for this is the day that you have made, and we are rejoicing. We're glad in it. Thank you for the opportunity to be in a safe and sacred space, to be transparent and vulnerable, and then to reveal and share our mess because healing is messy. Thank you for the support that we share with one another. And we thank you that you're able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless before the presence of your glory with exceeding joy. Thank you for joy. To the all wise God be glory and majesty, dominion and power, henceforth, now and forever. Help us to implement those tools that Candace shared with us today, even if we just do one. Thank you for the joy attached to that. And we thank you for the opportunity to come again next Sunday, same time, same community, same wisdom, God, because you never change. You're the same yesterday, today, and forever. And we're grateful. We give you glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. That was right on time. Bye. Have a beautiful day, everyone. We'll see you next Sunday, same time. Have a good one.